This video will guide you through reviewing an intellectual property license agreement. Intellectual property license agreement review is an essential service because both licensors and licensees want to understand the specific terms before proceeding. If you have received an intellectual property license agreement and need to review it, then this video is tailored for you. Before we start, just a brief disclaimer. The following information is provided for educational purposes and in no way constitutes legal advice. For legal advice, we encourage you to consult a licensed attorney. We have also provided more information in the description, including how to find a lawyer. We will cover top considerations when reviewing an intellectual property license agreement, key terms to find and understand in your document, cost to hire a lawyer for review. We have also added a link in the description below with information on legal fees. Now let's get started. Top considerations for intellectual property license agreements. Intellectual property license agreements can have significant implications for both parties involved. Here are some top considerations to keep in mind. Nature of the license. Make sure the agreement clearly states whether it is an exclusive, non-exclusive, or sole license, as this will affect the rights granted. Scope of use. Understand the limitations placed on the license, including specific uses allowed for the intellectual property. Duration of license. Identify the length of time the license is valid, including any renewal terms or conditions. Royalties and payments. It is critical to outline the payment structure, including any upfront fees, royalties, or other forms of compensation. Compliance with laws. Ensure that the license adheres to relevant legal standards and regulations concerning intellectual property rights. And consider hiring a lawyer. Discussing your agreement with a qualified attorney can clarify complex legal points and ensure you are protected. We have included a link in the description to help you find one. Key terms to understand. Intellectual property license agreements contain numerous vital terms that you need to be familiar with. Here are some key terms to look for. 1. Parties involved. Confirm the full names and details of all parties involved in the agreement are accurately presented. 2. Intellectual property description. Clearly identify the intellectual property being licensed, including any registration details if applicable. 3. Grant of license. Review the section that explicitly defines the rights granted, including territory and scope of use. 4. Restrictions on use. Find clauses that outline what actions are prohibited with the licensed intellectual property. 5. Ownership rights. Make sure the agreement states who owns the intellectual property both during and after the term of the license. 6. Termination. Understand the reasons and processes for terminating the agreement by either party. 7. Indemnification. Familiarize yourself with who will be responsible for any legal issues that arise from the use of the licensed property. And 8. Dispute resolution. Review what processes are in place for resolving potential disputes, whether through mediation, arbitration, or litigation. Average costs to hire a lawyer. Hiring a lawyer to review your intellectual property license agreement is advisable. Contracts Counsel's marketplace allows you to post your project and receive competitive bids from lawyers for comparison. Based on recent data, the average cost to review an intellectual property license agreement is $440 on a flat fee basis. This is based on dozens of recent projects from across various U.S. states. Legal fees can vary based on the following factors. State or location. Lawyer fees may vary based on where they are located. For example, a lawyer in New York City will likely have a higher rate than a lawyer in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Length of contract. Given lawyers traditionally bill by the hour, a longer contract with more pages will require more of their time, which can make the legal costs higher. Complexity of terms. If there are complicated terms in the agreement, it can increase legal fees since it will require the lawyer to spend more time working on the project. Service required. You can hire lawyers for different services. If you simply need the contract reviewed and explained, this will be a lower fee than also needing the contract redlined and negotiated. Reviewing an intellectual property license agreement is vital to safeguarding your rights and ensuring a successful partnership. If you need help from an experienced lawyer, feel free to search Contracts Counsel or visit contractscounsel.com and post a job to get quotes from lawyers to help you. Thanks for watching.